We need to become the answer to the affordable housing crisis in Dallas. We cannot wait on other people to do it. A lot of people think we're giving away houses, and they have a mortgage just like anybody else. Why are we in a crisis? Why do we need affordable housing? Who are we serving? What does it look like? What are we doing? Once you get involved with Habitat, you don't want to leave.
You're listening to Building Dallas, hosted by Arrington Roofing. With 42 years of roofing North Texas, Arrington Roofing is building a better roof for you.
All right, so welcome to our next episode of Building Dallas. I'm Chris Arrington with Arrington Roofing, and I have with me today Ashley Brundage, President and Chief Executive Officer of Dallas Area Habitat for Humanity. So you guys have seen them on TV. They've been around since... how long?
40 years.
40 years, okay.
1986.
And so if you don't know much about them, you're going to find out a lot more about them today. And the really, since it's Building Dallas, you're going to find out about the things that they're doing in Dallas, which is pretty incredible. And, from, my little prep here is that the Dallas area habitat is very active. I mean, it's a organization that's really getting a lot done. But let's just dive into, you're a local girl.
I am.
Tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. So a little about me. I grew up in Coppell, Texas, graduated high school from there. I'm an Aggie. So went to school, lived with my grandmother.
Wreck 'em. That's just for my tech friends.
And came back here after graduation and have not left. So lived in Dallas for a while before the kids started school, and then we moved back to Coppell. So we're back there now. I have two kids. They're now 17 and 15.
Yeah.
So senior and sophomore.
They survived junior high.
They survived. They made it through.
So what do they do? What do they do? Tell us.
They're both at Coppell High. One of them's in the magnet school, the tech magnet school. My oldest is. He is very interested in welding and car automotive industry stuff and wants to go to a trade school after school. So I'm really excited about that. My other, she just got accepted this year into the sports medicine program. So she's like an athletic trainer and learning how to do all of that for the first time. Right now she's just handing out water, but it grows along the year.
That's so cool. Okay.
Yeah.
This is what I love about this podcast. So we are such a big advocate of training in the trades.
Yeah.
Welders, we need them. Like, guys, I'm going to do a plug for that. We need welders.
Yeah.
We need roofers. We need electricians. We need plumbers.
Yep.
And it's something, I mean, think about it, everybody out there. When we were growing up, my dad painted my house.
Yeah.
He did minor plumbing repairs.
Yeah.
I mean, he fixed the sheetrock.
Yeah. My grandpa was an industrial education professor at Texas A&M, so we like to call him a professional shop teacher. So he built all of his own furniture. He had his own wood shop in the backyard. And when my mom married my dad, he basically took my dad under his wing to help him start learning how to fix things and do all the home improvement stuff. And my dad tells a funny story about how he bought a new car. My grandpa bought a new car and immediately took the engine apart and had it all laid out in the front yard. My dad's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I needed to see how it worked."
Wow.
And then put it all back together.
Okay, so my dad during the 70s, like the whole 70s,
Yep.
he took a Ford 8N tractor apart because he bought a piece of land out in Ovilla, took it all apart in the garage, and my mom would always remind everybody that when we would tell this story, did he use his side of the garage or her side? No, her side.
Yeah.
She parked her car outside, and we had a garage, two-car garage, for all the 70s. We got to the end of the 70s. He took it all apart, put it back together. We went, the whole family were in the garage going, "Oh my gosh." This one, you turn the key and then you punch the button and it went, and it started. And the first word was "Mom, get it out to the farm."
I love it. Give me my garage back.
Oh gosh, she was so happy. And back then, gosh, we had the biggest car known to man. It was a station wagon,
Yeah.
where the kids are in the back seat looking the other way.
Yeah.
400 feet away from you way back there. So you couldn't hear the fighting.
That's funny.
Oh, gosh. Okay. So now tell us a little bit about Habitat, like the cost, how you do it. We're going to dive into this, that it's a lot of volunteer time. I mean, you've got pros and you've got your staff that educates, but just walk us through a little bit of the day-to-day.
Yeah, I will say, so we actually, what everybody knows and loves Habitat for is our volunteer construction model. And the way that works is we have trained volunteers. Many of our volunteers have been with us for 30 and 40 years, the entirety that Habitat has existed in Dallas. I mean, we've got some very long timers that are going out every day and building with us. And those are the volunteers who then manage other volunteers out on site for us. We call them our core volunteers. And so when you come and volunteer with Habitat, you can come with zero experience, and those volunteers are going to show you what to do on site. And it's very exciting because we have 2 phases to doing that as well. So we have our wall shop where we're framing up all of the houses. So all of the walls, all the studded walls get built in our wall shop. And we do that with our core volunteers and volunteers coming in and helping and learning how to put the walls together. And then we will move 2 pallets of those walls out onto a site where we're building the house. And the volunteers on day 1 can stand up all the walls to the house on one day. So it actually looks like a house when they're done at the end of the day. It's really cool. And again, these are volunteers who have never lifted a hammer before sometimes.
So if you're volunteering, can you just volunteer a day a week or half a day, or how does...
It's usually a day. It's not a full day. Our days are, in this heat, we start at 6:30 in the morning and wrap up by 11:30.
Yeah.
We're done before lunch because it's just so hot. When it starts to cool off, we move the hours a little bit later and a little bit longer to last longer, but it's never a full day. We don't do split shifts on one day because of the safety trainings that we do have to provide. That gets too difficult to try and do it like a breakfast and a lunch shifting of volunteers. So we try to just do one shift a day. And we are building on Wednesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays primarily. Sometimes we'll throw in other days if maybe one of our corporate sponsors is really needing a different day, then we'll do that. We typically are not building on Sunday or Monday. Those are days off.
Okay, so you mentioned corporate sponsors. So they would have a group from their company that might come out and they're the only one, or you're training them and they're all just taking
they're the
a
only
whole...
ones. Yeah. So we'll have corporate sponsors who will either sponsor an entire home, which means they'll get 8 to 10 days of having their own staff come out and volunteer on all of those days, and they can build an entire home and say, this was built by that company.
Wow.
Or you can sponsor just a day and come out with 20 volunteers of your employees and do it on just a one-day time. We're very flexible on how we offer that. We ask that people provide the monetary donation as part of them coming out and doing their volunteer engagement because we are building houses, right? And it's staff time and materials. And so we're asking that the company not only volunteer their time, but help also support that building of that affordable home with money. And that's really how that works. So, and again, no experience necessary because we still have all of our core volunteers out there with us training. And then we have at least 1 or 2 of our construction staff members on site as well.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Walk me through somebody who goes out there for the first time. If you've got a story about this, for the first time, they've never built anything. What goes through their head?
Yeah. We have a lot of people primarily a lot of our volunteers, it's their first time doing something like this, and they're feeling nervous, anxious, but also a little brave, right? They showed up. That takes a lot. Especially when you show up onto a construction site and you don't really know what to expect and you have zero experience. They're already feeling okay, I got here. That's something. But once they start like getting into it, where the core volunteers are showing them how to, put the walls up, or how to we use all of our power tools on site. So they're cutting some of the studs to the right size to put up in different places. They're using nail guns. Some of them, when we're putting the walls up, they're using the big guns that have the bullet in them to hammer that in.
To go through the concrete.
Some of our volunteers are helping with that. That's a big deal.
That is a big deal.
And I can't remember the name of those guns, but our volunteers, once they do these things, are just so excited and so proud of themselves. I mean, I liken it kind of like teaching a kid to do something for the first time, right? Yeah. They're like, hey, I can do this. I used that saw over there today. I cut all those studs down to what we needed, or I helped put that roof up there today.
When I got into architecture, because that's what I went to school for at Tech.
Oh, cool.
And when I got out, I was, what I thought architects did, I thought they were on the site more. I thought they kind of built more, but it's more design. I was never a very good designer, but so that's why I have a great education to learn about building and how it all works. But then I went to the construction side, and I would tell the boys, because we got 4 boys growing up, that to build something and then stand back and look at it, and they'd go, and then you look at it, and then what? And I go, and you do another one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just there is so much
you get the
fun.
Bug. We call it habititis.
Okay.
There is a word for
contagious.
It's contagious.
Watch out.
Because it is. Once you get involved with habitat, you don't want to leave. And so that first time experience for folks that have never really interacted with us before is really when you catch the bug.
Yeah.
And then you can come back and you can go through what we call our Habitat University, and you can become one of our core volunteers. So one of the folks who are coming out every week with us and helping then lead other volunteers. It's something that is it's meaningful to those volunteers to lead, but it's giving everybody really handy skills. Like we were talking about earlier. I mean, you're learning skills that help you on your own home and how to help do repairs and fix things on your own home along the way. So it's fun and it's definitely contagious.
Actually, I can't even believe that's something I didn't think about before we started talking, is that you're actually teaching them volunteers who are volunteering to help somebody else are learning life skills that they could use at their own home.
Yes.
Or at least, and I love this about clients that we have that are a little bit knowledgeable about what we do, because they're the ones that get what we're telling them.
Yeah.
Some people that have no clue, they still don't know if you're being truthful with them or not. And someone who understands it goes, okay, that makes sense.
Right.
So these people are being honest with me.
Right.
Now, now you mentioned Habitat University. What does that look like? Not, you don't have to tell us everything, but
so that is specifically for those core volunteers or the folks that want to become core volunteers. It's about a 40-hour program that you go through where you not only learn safety on site, but you learn all the tricks and tips of how to actually build a home the Habitat way. So we have very specific designs that we build regularly. So we have about, I think it's 4 or 5 home designs that we build. So we don't stray far from that. So then you learn how to do all the pieces of building those homes. Right. You can't learn everything in 40 hours, but that gets you the baseline. And then you have to show up on site regularly to continue to learn and get better. And then you'll go from being a core volunteer to a house leader, and then you lead like the building of an entire house as a volunteer.
Wow. Okay, so the 40 hours, how does that, is it spread out?
It's spread out. Some of it's online. Some of it is having to be on site and getting hands-on training. And you come out on some of those build days that we have, so it can be self-scheduled out too.
Wow. That's okay. Cool.
Yeah, it's really neat.
What if some of your students said about once they've kind of gone through that, and you said then they're a
core volunteer,
a core volunteer.
So a core volunteer, and then after you've done that for a while, then you can move up to become a house leader.
Okay, so a core volunteer just means you've gone through the 40-hour training, and you can do certain.
And you can lead other volunteers
things.
now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they like that because it gives them a little bit more power on site. It makes them, it's a leadership training program somewhat, right? So it's a good thing for them to have. But a lot of them like it because that's the best opportunity that we have for people to come out and volunteer with us regularly right now, if you're not associated with a company or something. Just because we have so much demand from our corporate sponsors that ends up taking up a lot of what we could use for public opportunity volunteer spots. If you become a core volunteer, then you're automatically getting a slot to come out and build on.
So here's a question. Where is the percentage of corporate volunteer versus what you say? Just public? Yeah, just people because I could just call. I could just call up your office and go, "Hi, I'm Chris.
Yeah.
I'd love to volunteer. What do I do?"
Yeah,
and then you.
So I would say it's primarily probably 90% corporate volunteers for the non-experienced just showing up thing. Then they're coming out with their company and their fellow colleagues and building together. It's kind of a team building exercise. We don't have quite as many public volunteers yet. We're trying to increase that. Part of that means we also need to start building more homes.
Which you are, and we're going to get to that.
We are.
But man, I'm going to stop right here and go, okay. Corporate, I want some of you CEOs out there to think about when you do want to have some team building, build a home. What a cool thing.
It's great.
People are always thinking about our ropes course or, so we're going to build a puzzle or go to a, escape room or something. I got to build a house.
Yeah.
Talk about team building. What a great idea. And then for just the general public out there, you can call Habitat. Sometimes I think people think they're too big. I can't call Habitat and go do something with them. That's for big people or whatever, or corporations. That's for what they do.
Right.
But
That's
one
what it
person.
does look like. That's what we're trying to change, is to show that we have more opportunity for the public. Right now, I would say it doesn't look as much as building homes as it is doing wall shop opportunities. We have 2 retail outlets, too, that we always need volunteers to help us with putting product out on the floors.
Okay, so back up.
It's a whole new thing over
there. Back up.
Yep.
2 retail. What is that?
Yeah.
And I didn't know we were going to get into this. But,
Sorry.
Okay.
Changing topics. So we have 2 restores, is what they're called, where we resell new, used, and liquidated items. So we have new and used donated items that come to us through individuals or through companies that are just getting rid of overstocks.
Like what kind of items?
Couches, beds, it's all home goods. Construction supplies. We have a lot of flooring that we get. We have a really good partnership with a furniture company here in town that we're not allowed to say their name, but it's a very high-end furniture company that brings beds and couches to us a lot. We have a name brand rug company, which I did not know there were name brand rugs, but we have name brand rugs that come. We get them by just the box load of rugs, and we're selling giant floors, like room size rugs for $40.
So
beautiful rugs.
This isn't always, is it used stuff or just all new?
It's both. So we're also, when people are cleaning out houses, getting rid of old furniture, we're taking that, but we're very selective on what we take so that we make sure that we're keeping our stock up to par for people to come back all the time. Okay. And then, like I said, we're getting construction stuff too. So flooring, we have Dallas Market Hall has a lighting show twice a year, I believe. So we get these beautiful, gorgeous chandeliers that were hung up as samples that we resell.
What?
It's really cool.
Okay, I had no idea.
Yep.
Okay, 2 retail stores.
2 retail.
I think y'all have one that's real close in town.
Right here.
Design District?
Yep. No, it's on Hampton, at Hampton and Singleton.
Hampton and Singleton. Where's the other one?
The other one is on Walnut Hill near Harry Hines.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. I'm going to have to go shopping.
Yeah, you should. It's really great.
Okay.
And it's really great, too, like if you are, renovating your bathroom or renovating a small bedroom or something like that. Like, you can find everything that you need to do some small projects for much cheaper at our restores than you can at any other place that you're shopping. I mean, we have people who are redoing like houses for Airbnb type things that come in and they can outfit the entire Airbnb using our furniture and stuff that they're finding in those stores. Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, but
Sorry, we
okay.
strayed.
That was
that is a volunteer opportunity.
Man, okay. So you can volunteer.
You can come out and help pull all the stock out onto the shelves, things like that. Mm-hmm.
So if you're just say fair skinned me, I've got to be covered on every. Maybe you can't be out in the sun a whole lot. Someone could volunteer in a retail.
Yep.
And just help people find stuff at the store.
Yeah.
Okay, another way to volunteer.
Those are open all the time.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I just want to hit one thing because you talked about getting some training and moving up, but then you can move to a supervisor,
house leader.
House leader.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what does for people who would be like, man, I'm all about achievement.
Yeah.
I want the next badge.
Yeah.
I want to have the stripes on. So what do they have to do to
like
be
you and me, right?
Yeah. Yes.
How do we get there?
Yeah. What do you have to do to be a house leader?
And
what do they do?
Yeah, that takes a longer time of training. I'm not sure the exact amount of time that it takes to move from being a core volunteer to a house leader, but it is a while because you have to know everything that it takes to build that house. And then our house leaders are responsible for making sure that they have the right number of core volunteers on site, and then they're assigning the jobs to the groups of volunteers when they come to build. So you have about 30 people total on site for a build day. The house leader is then separating those up into smaller groups and saying, okay, you're doing siding over here, you're doing siding over here, you're going to help cut over here, whatever it is. Or we need everybody coming together and we got to put the truss up on the top of the house, those types of things. So they're organizing all of that.
Okay, so that I get that picture, which is unusual for a home. Now, typically when people drive by and they see homes being built, there's a subcontractor or two there.
Yep.
Now, on commercial sites, we're used to there's a whole city of guys out there building this building. But it sounds like you kind of have that commercial feel of we've got ants out here. We are moving stuff.
Yeah.
So I would think one of the coolest pictures, if you're volunteering, is you're starting. Let's just say you got a day where you're starting with a slab, and you're tilting walls up, and you're putting lots of things together. At the end of the day, and it might not even be a full day, you get to stand back in the yard and go, "Wow!"
Yeah, you see a house.
The house wasn't here, and now it's here.
Framed out. Yeah.
I mean,
it's really neat.
That is something that most people really have probably never seen.
No. And I left out one of the best parts too is we usually have our homeowners have been identified before we start building the home, and so they come out and build with us.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Is there a story? Can we pause for a story here? What words have you heard from your homeowners when this house is going up that they know is going to be theirs?
So they form really tight relationships with the volunteers because it's usually that same group of core volunteers for the entire build. So they form deep, long relationships with them for years after they've moved into their home. So
friend.
They love that. Wow. But they love being able to say, like, I did this. I built this. This is my home. Not only did I buy it, I built this home. Like, they did it. And it's always such pride that they have and joy in doing that. And it'll give you goosebumps every time you hear them because it's just, they did it. They're out there. It's not somebody's doing this for them. It's not a handout. They're literally out there working with the volunteers and they're buying the house. A lot of people think we're giving away houses, and they have a mortgage just like anybody else. Now, it is one of the most affordable mortgages you'll ever see.
Right.
Because Habitat does 0%, zero down payment mortgage.
Wow.
But it's still, they're paying for this house. And so it's a sense of ownership that they have coming out there.
And then, so people who would be interested in that, I'm sure there's a qualification process you go through. So you call Habitat, and if you're interested in something like that, you call them.
Yeah, that's another piece we haven't really talked about is we have a whole suite of financial education and mortgage readiness courses that our potential homeowners go through. So if you qualify, which is usually around 80% of the area median income or below, so you're making around $60,000 or less in your household of 3 to 4 people. So it's not a lot of money.
Right.
You can come in, you can go through our courses to become mortgage ready. So we're working on your credit scores, we're working on your savings account, we're making sure that you understand what it's going to take to own a home. And then you become certified by HUD that you are mortgage ready after going through our courses and meeting those qualifications. And then once that happens, then you can buy a Habitat home if there's one available that you're interested in, or you can wait and see if we're building in a different location and potentially buy that one. And then, so then we're providing the mortgage to our homeowners at 0% interest.
Okay. And so back to our volunteer.
Yep.
Okay, guys, we're talking about volunteering. Do you have volunteers that come in and help with that financial?
Yeah.
They're volunteers?
Yeah, we have volunteers come and help with that all the time. We have a lot of our banks have folks that want to come and volunteer and do that. It helps with their CRA credits from a corporate standpoint for sure. But it's usually people who also have a heart for doing that type of thing. They want to help educate. So we've got folks like that. We have a lot of real estate brokers who come out and want to help and volunteer as well, even though they're not really getting anything out of it. They just want to help and teach. So we take all kinds of volunteers.
Because
I will say, if you want to volunteer with Habitat, we'll figure out how to use you.
We'll find a spot for you
find
somewhere.
A spot. Yeah.
Yes. And we mentioned this a little bit earlier, but y'all are wanting to do more, and you are. You give us a history of how many homes you've done and now what you guys are planning on doing.
So Habitat, again, we're 40 years old. I started here 2 years ago in May 24, where we had gone from, we were building close to 100 homes a year from our kind of heyday in the 90s, I would say, down to when I started, we were at 15 homes we built that year. And the organization has just been going through a lot of changes, through leadership changes, through changes at the city of Dallas, where we used to rely on the land bank at the city of Dallas, where you can get really cheap lots. And it was just getting more difficult to be able to build as many homes as what we wanted to do. So when I came on, we made it a goal that we were going to scale back up, right? We need to become the answer to the affordable housing crisis in Dallas. We cannot wait on other people to do it. And so how do we get there? What do we do? What does that look like for Dallas Habitat? So after kind of doing some research and thinking, looking through all the numbers, we've come to that our goal is to get back to building volunteer construction homes every year. Our goal is 25 homes a year. That really is where it kind of caps out and breaks even numbers wise for all the habitats that we've looked at across the country. So that's what we're replicating. And then we're starting to look at bigger developments and how do we partner with real estate developers who understand how to do the full spectrum of building out a housing development, and where can we fit in to help bring the kind of affordable subsidy that's needed to do that. So we have 2 projects on the horizon that we're doing that with. We're also looking at, I will say before I explain the 2, how do we do density? How do we create more density? How do we do different sized products that provide home ownership opportunities for people who aren't looking for the big single family house on the big lot?
Right.
How do we meet people's needs? We don't do that in Dallas as much as what we used to. And we have to get back to that because we're really starting to lose that middle and working class family to the suburbs. And so our goal is to provide that product. So we've partnered, our first project that you'll see coming online is in Wheatland, and it's in Duncanville in Wheatland Plaza. We've partnered with Monte Anderson out there, who's he calls himself an incremental developer.
Okay, yeah. I know Monte.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he revitalized Wheatland Plaza, which is a U-shaped commercial center out there, strip center, and we're plopping down 12 townhomes in the middle of the parking lot.
Okay, so there, because I'm taking a couple of notes when you're talking, it sounds like, because Dallas has, and we were talking about this earlier, become small town from a long time ago to a major metropolitan area, which means the central part of the city gets really expensive.
Yes.
So it sounds to me like that's one of the that's where we are.
That's where we are.
Land is super expensive.
So expensive.
So for you guys to even get out of the ground, you're already spending a lot of money.
Correct.
So I'm thinking that's where this higher density came from.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. See, now that makes a lot of sense because I mean, the land's the land.
The land is the land, but if I can sell more units on that land, then I can make up for the costs.
And you don't need a huge home.
Nope.
Okay.
No, I mean, if you think about it too, we have a need for more homes for first-time homeowners because you can't find those small starter homes anymore.
Oh gosh.
And
I have 4 young. They're in their 30s, but man, finding a home.
Yeah, if you want to live in Dallas, it's not easy, or it's really old and falling down. And what we're seeing actually is that starter home housing stock that is older is actually just being torn down now and replaced with big homes, right? So really our starter home is disappearing. So we have to figure out how to build a product that meets that need. So when we talk about building townhomes, we're doing them as like a condo association. It is a home ownership opportunity. It is a starter home. They're going to be attached townhomes in Duncanville, but it still is a way for you to start building equity and wealth in something that you own that you can then sell and move up and out.
Yes.
We also have a need for our seniors. Our seniors can't age in place anymore, or if they're in apartments, can't afford to stay in those apartments anymore because their incomes don't change. Yeah. And so if we can provide, again, a small ownership opportunity for them to move into, that allows them to age in place in the city that they have grown old in and want to stay in, right?
Okay. I don't know why I always thought about Habitat for really like a young family or something, but your clientele
it ranges.
Could be older.
We sold a home last year, maybe at the beginning of this year, to a veteran who was about 80 years old, who was exiting homelessness and had never owned a home, and bought him and his wife his first home through Habitat.
We talked about crying. All right, keep going.
A veteran. I mean, and that's like, he's 80 and he's buying his first home, but that's the product that we're building, is for people to be able to do that. And so then they can grow old and live well together. Okay.
That's an awesome story.
Yeah. It's really great. So it's both. And we have a lot of people who are, I would say our primary clientele is actually women, head of households, primarily single moms. Okay. So we do what we call a Women's Build initiative every year to highlight the importance of affordable housing for women. This last year, we sold our home to a teacher, a DISD teacher, and her daughter. And they moved into their first home. They were doubled up living with grandma, and this was their first time to be able to own their own home and have their own space. Wow. It's a small 2-bedroom, not apartment, a 2-bedroom home, 2-story home. It's perfect size for her and her daughter. Wow. And they were thrilled. And, oh, gosh. Her daughter, Jordan, has her own room to herself that she can make her own. And so it was
so good.
But that's our teachers. Like, our teachers can't even afford to live in the city anymore. Yeah. And that's going to hurt us. If we keep seeing this happening, it's going to hurt Dallas. It's not only like we just need decent housing for people just because we're human beings and we care for one another. Yeah. It's literally like an economic development opportunity. We have to have places for people to live.
And then you mentioned the Wheatland, which is the townhomes. Yep. But then you've also got, tell us about a couple other projects that are more like neighborhoods.
Yeah,
right?
So we have another one.
Because I think of Habitat as They build a house over here.
Yeah.
Build a house over there.
Yeah.
Well, now.
Yeah, we're trying to go back to neighborhoods, and that we have a history of that. It's just recently all we've been doing is that infill lots because that's what we can find. So we're trying to move back into neighborhoods. So we have another one coming up that you'll see more towards the end of 2027 that's in Mill City, which is South Dallas. We're doing 20.
So it's not another city.
No, it's not another city. It's a neighborhood.
It's a place.
Yeah.
A neighborhood. Mill City is a neighborhood in Dallas. Okay.
Yeah, it's right by Fair Park. It's right by Fair Park.
Got it.
And we're doing that one in partnership with Matthews Development. So we all had large parcels of land right next to each other that we've decided that we're going to combine into one broader development versus us trying to all do our own thing. And are bringing the community with us. We're working with another nonprofit that's in the neighborhood called Urban Specialists. They're violence interrupters. And all three of us really working together are developing a neighborhood of 24 townhomes that are going to help enhance that community, but it's also something the neighbors want to see there, right? The community is asking for that.
Okay, and so when you partner with a for-profit developer, I mean, he's got to make a profit because he's got salaries to pay and so forth. So why would a developer get with you guys? Yeah. Why would where's their?
So the way that it works for this one, and every single one is going to be different depending on who we're partnering with, but partnering with Matthews, the way that it works is they are the experts. So they're getting paid a developer's fee to help us with this. It is not as much as what they would charge a for-profit company, but then we're helping capitalize the development. So since we're a nonprofit, we have access to different types of funding streams that help bring the affordability into the development.
Okay.
And so that's the part that we play, and then also then bringing in community voice, so partnering with the neighbors and the other nonprofits and stuff.
Okay. So it's
really a
great
partnership.
business model.
Yeah. And I would say, too, for Matthews Development, Jack Matthews just has a heart for South Dallas and for the community. And this is his primary way of giving back, is how can he provide that expertise and financial backing to projects like this to help improve the community that he has adopted as his own. Yeah. Right?
But you don't have to be an independently wealthy guy to go, I'd love to do this. I can still run my company and keep in my budget.
Yeah,
but I can
they're
also
still going to be able to get their developer's fee off of it, and then we also get paid off of it, right? When we sell those townhomes later on, we're still making our money back and able to pay off whatever debt we take on, and make a little bit of money on it, so we can keep doing the good work we're trying to do.
That's
Our third one is out in Joppa. So that one is
that's the big is that kind of the biggest one, or?
That's the biggest one. So we've been in Joppa for 20 years now. We are actually hosting our 40th anniversary Rock the Block
and about where
there.
is Joppa? Where's that in town?
Yeah, so Joppa is off of 45 to the east, south of, I think it's south of Loop 12. So it touches the Trinity Forest.
Oh.
So like if you're in Joppa and if you're kind of on the back half of Joppa neighborhood, your backyard is literally like the Trinity River and the Trinity Forest. It is beautiful. Wow. It's beautiful. Yeah. It is so unknown to folks. It's starting to become more known. You're starting to see some big houses move out there for people that are taking chances on Joppa.
Yeah.
It is the oldest freedmen's town in North Texas.
Okay.
So when slavery and all the slaves got freed, a lot of them settled in this neighborhood. Right. The unfortunate part of that neighborhood is right in front of it is a concrete batch plant.
Oh.
So all of the dust particles from the concrete there are falling into that community, and it's not really good for breathing and asthma and things like that. Yeah. So they're fighting that fight. The community is. We kind of stay apolitical in that. And but we are building out there. We are hosting our 40th anniversary Rock the Block event out there, which you guys are joining us on. I'm very excited about. But we've put over 150 homes in the Joppa neighborhood to help keep it affordable, but also because some of the homes there had been so old that it was time to revitalize that neighborhood already. And so we have some in there in the past that we were tearing down and putting up new homes.
Okay, so we've really been talking this whole time really about kind of new construction, but you just mentioned in that neighborhood, there may be just some houses that you're remodeling or just fixing up this or that? Or?
We both. So we have done some rehabs out there, and for our Rock the Block anniversary in October, we're actually doing just a lot of kind of quick makeovers to help beautify the neighborhood some more. So one of the things we did 20 homes, are all Habitat homes on Joppa Circle. And our goal in Rock the Block is to repaint all of those homes for the homeowners.
Okay.
Yeah, just to really give it a facelift. After 20 years, it's time in this Texas sun to repaint a house. Yeah. And so we're trying to go out there and do that for free for everybody. And then we've got some other homes that we're doing minor home repair on, and we're partnering with you all on a home that provides in-home childcare, but has roof leaks and needs a major repair of their roof so that she can continue to run her business. And so that's our goal out there, and you guys are helping us with that.
Yes.
So that's going to be very cool.
Because that is not, and I probably should know this, but I don't. You didn't really have volunteers for doing roofing or plumbing or.
No. We have the trades come in and do
just
all
to
that.
dive into that a little bit so people know when. I mean, this might be intimidating for a lot of people to go, well, I really probably shouldn't be, people who aren't maybe as good as with their hands, maybe I just shouldn't even volunteer because I'm going to mess things up. You're not going to be asked to sweat weld a copper pipe together in a wall. Guys, that won't be your first day, I'm sure. What are some of the jobs that someone would do at the start? Like you're just fixing up, you're doing some maintenance on the house.
So for some of the kind of minor
bottom,
home repair type things that volunteers can come and help us do, it's a lot of landscaping. We are going to ask volunteers to help us with painting the homes that we're targeting through this. We are not shingling. We're not having any volunteers get up on a roof. That's just too risky for us. And it's such a professional job that needs to be done that we're grateful for y'all's help there. But we have, cleanup stuff that's happening that'll be helpful. We have ramps that we put in. Last year when we did an event similar to this, we somebody had a paving stones walking path for their front sidewalk that we reset because they were all getting buried underground and they were too old to fix it. And so minor things like that don't seem like that big of a deal, but for these homeowners who either don't have the time or don't have the ability, it's a huge deal for them, and it makes them feel proud to be in their house again.
Okay. So there could be some people that they can volunteer, and most of what they do might be maintenance stuff. Just helping. Yeah. Gosh, we all live somewhere. We all know we got to clean the house up every once in a while.
You want to feel pride in your neighborhood, and what happens in a lot of low income neighborhoods is that people are working so much that they either don't have the time to keep up with their house or they don't have the money, right? And so for us to come in and help kind of give that boost to the neighbors, and we're only doing projects that the neighbors have requested. It just helps create that sense of pride and love and joy for their community again that maybe they might have lost. I actually think everybody really loves to live in Joppa, so I can't say they've lost any of that, but I do think that it just helps them bring a little bit of pride back and it cleans up some trash that is just time for, things to get cleaned up.
And
spring cleaning.
What I really, the sense I get here, volunteering at Habitat or working there full time or whatever, or just being involved or having a home there, is that the human element is, you guys know that there's a need, and you've said, okay, we're going to step up. Here's a need. Not that we're doing everything for you, but just like you were saying, we're busy. So, I mean, you might be older, you might not be able to do the work that you need to keep up a home, and now you've got this group of people, this Habitat for Humanity coming in, and you build a friend. You use your skills that you've got because you're healthy and strong, and you can do these things for someone else, and you give of your time that you've got, but you make that, what you mentioned earlier, maybe that lifelong friendship with someone who came. I look at it kind of like sports. When you go through a season of a sport and you struggle and you win and you lose, and then you build that bond. I can see that same thing go on with building a home. And actually it's, the trophies go in a case and get old. The house you're living in is something that you depend on every day. I mean, we're talking about basic human need, food, clothing, and shelter.
That's right.
Nobody
ever woke up and said, I want to live on the streets, or I want to live in a shack that's falling down around my ears, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's ever said that. And this is our way of helping keep people in a decent, affordable home.
And I love that, and this is going to be my next question about what Habitat's learned, but the one thing that I can see y'all have learned is about instead of doing the onesie twosies, you've got this community. I could really see the future of Habitat communities where that spirit of friendship and camaraderie and help permeates through the neighborhood, because most everybody in the neighborhood might have a similar story that they can share. And always talk about when we have our staff meetings, okay, do we have everybody here? Do we have critical mass?
Yeah.
Where you guys, you kind of almost feed off the group.
Yes.
And you got a bigger
sense of
group,
community.
and now you've got this kind of place where people go, man, I'd be attracted to that area because I think I'd like to live there.
Yeah, where people know each other and want to be friendly neighborhoods and don't keep to themselves. Yeah. When we were working in Joppa last year, we were doing a big volunteer day, and we host what we call our home dedications. Every time somebody moves into a home, we have a big group dedication ceremony to welcome them to their new home, to give them their keys. And we did that in Joppa for our newest Joppa resident, and other Habitat homeowners from Joppa got up and welcomed her to the community and gave her hugs and welcomed her. I mean, it was something. It was the first time we'd really ever seen something like that happen, because our dedication ceremonies, we were usually off-site. We're at the Habitat offices or something like that. And so to have it in the neighborhood and let the neighbors be there, it was really special. And it was special for her because she was like 19. It was her first home. And to know that she had other women there that she could lean on if she needed anything, and to be able to meet them the moment she moves in, like, that was great.
And now 19.
19,
See,
yeah.
I'm this year blowing my mind. Like, we have an 80-year-old, who's buying a first home, and a 19-year-old.
She was young, yeah.
Oh,
But she was ready. And that's all we're here to do, is if you're ready and you meet the income eligibility requirements, we're here to help you buy that home.
Hey, what parent wouldn't love this? You've got a 19-year-old who knows what's going on with her home because she's got training. She went through a mortgage process. She helped with the homes, and she got some skills there.
Yep.
And she's in her home at 19.
Yeah, with an affordable payment that won't change much, because we also have a deed restriction on our houses that cap the property tax increase. So she knows that tax increase will only go up 2% a year. So the only variable she has then is insurance.
Oh, that's awesome. So in the 40 years, Ashley, I know you've only been with them for 2, but if you can give us an overview of what you think the Habitat community has learned from day one when they started to now. What could you share with us quickly? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff, but how has Habitat grown? What are they doing now that they weren't doing at the beginning?
Yeah, I think I would say probably three things have been what I've noticed where we kind of got lost in the past and that we're trying to refocus on because we have realized how important they are. One is that sense of community. So making sure that we are building relationships, not just with donors and board members, but with all of our core volunteers, with our homeowners, and most especially with other nonprofit partners and developers. So how can we all work together to meet this crisis where we need to be and help address it? Mm-hmm. And that's what's going to be really important for us moving forward. The other is around advocacy. So I really think that Dallas Habitat kind of lost its voice for a while. And we have the largest platform when it comes to talking about affordable housing because of the international branding that is Habitat for Humanity, right? Like Jimmy Carter worked his butt off to help with that. And we cannot let that go to waste. And Dallas Habitat has really lost its voice at the table when it comes to advocating around affordable housing needs. And so that is a major priority for us because it's important because really when it comes to scale, those policy changes are going to be what gets us there, not building 24 townhomes.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's important, but we need the policy changes more so. Okay. And then I think I said the first two together, but it was the relationships, but it's those partnerships with other developers. Like we can't do this alone. And while Habitat is really good at doing home construction, when it comes to like developing land and building roads and putting in lights, like that is not our expertise. Yeah. And so partnering with developers who truly understand that and can help us get to where then we can build our homes, that's the way of the future for us at least. Got it. Because the land is so hard. Yeah. Developing land is so hard. Oosh. Buying land is so expensive. So if we can come in together with somebody to do those things, that's really going to be what helps us keep the affordability that we need for our families.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us what's going on. When is the party in
Rock
Joppa?
The Block. Rock the Block.
When is it?
It is October 19th through the 24th.
Okay.
So the big community block party will be on the 24th. So we hope everybody comes out and joins us. If you want to participate.
The 24th, is that a
Saturday.
Friday? Saturday. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Saturday.
If you want to participate in volunteering with us, we will have probably 800 different opportunities throughout the week. Where anybody can come and sign up, open to the public, come help us revitalize, clean up, landscaping, all the things in Joppa. We're even picking up spare tires and taking those out to the dump. So
okay, so it's a week long.
So we'll have various activities every day of the week that we'll be focused on.
And then conclusion on Saturday with the big celebration.
Yep.
And is there still work going on?
There's
Saturday?
Still work going on in the morning, and it'll culminate with like a party. We're going to have a DJ out there. We'll have food. There's going to be kind of a small health fair, social services fair, so there'll be resources out there for the community to take advantage of. And we are doing a home dedication ceremony that day.
Okay, so there will be a home that will be finished.
Yep, there will be homes that will be finished that we'll be dedicating. Cool. And then we're also going to recognize some of our key volunteers, the awards. So we have an awards event that we usually host on its own every year. And we're going to wrap that into the block party as well. So it is a big 40th anniversary celebration, Habitat style. Wow. We are not gala people. We don't need tuxedos.
You don't have to wear your tuxedo to the construction site.
Nope. Yeah. Wear your shorts and your t-shirts and come Habitat style.
My bow tie's all worn out anyway. It's all crooked. I don't know. Can you see somebody out there sweating in a tuxedo? Okay. So if someone wants to get involved in that, and I mean, could somebody who they haven't done anything with you guys before kind of be their first time to get involved there? That's okay?
Yes. Yeah, we have all different levels of entry from just free public, anybody come and volunteer, to key corporate sponsor volunteer opportunities. So anybody's welcome. It's online at DallasAreaHabitat.org. DallasAreaHabitat.org. Okay, so you can go there. Yep.
Is there a phone number we can put out, or do people mainly come?
I would go to the website. It'll be easier.
Okay.
That way you can kind of get an idea of what Rock the Block is. The phone number, you might end up going to the wrong person.
Okay, got it. Go to the website.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Ashley, let's finish on this.
Okay.
I love it that, in some of my notes here, you said a few times, there's no silver bullet.
Oh, yeah.
And I like that. I mean, silver bullet to me is like, we've got this figured out. Here's what you do. You do it every time. It always works.
Right.
Community, and here we're talking about building Dallas. And we've talked about Dallas going from, a smaller town to a major metropolitan hub. I mean, with the airport, we're really becoming a national city, and prices are going up and things are changing. It gets more complicated the bigger you get, from one to now we're 8-9 million in the area and still growing. How do you simply put, here's why you need to come visit us, or to be a part of Habitat, to be a volunteer?
Yeah. I think a couple reasons why. Again, it's not a silver bullet. If it were easy, then you wouldn't really need all of us talking about this all of the time, right? Because we would know what to do and just go and do it. And in some ways it is easy, but it's not, because of all of the different pieces it takes to put together. And I think one of the biggest things around that, on why I want people to get involved with Habitat, is to learn about why are we in a crisis? Why do we need affordable housing? Who are we serving? What does it look like? What are we doing? Because I think that one of the biggest obstacles that we face in building more affordable housing are the neighbors in the community that we're trying to build, right? People just are anti-affordable housing because they think they have stereotypes, they have myths that they've heard about what it means for affordable housing to come into a neighborhood. And I think the more that people come into Habitat and really get involved and learn and see what we're doing and understand it, the more that then they can go out and proselytize to their neighbors about, hey, this isn't that big of a deal. And actually, it's really good for your community. And actually, their houses are beautiful.
Yeah.
So, I don't understand why you're so against this. Because what we need is more of that political will to help then our elected officials feel supported in the decisions that they want to make. But all they ever hear is the opposition.
Right.
And that's why I think it's important. And that's why I think it's important for us to always have our volunteer construction side, because that's where people can really hands-on get in the middle of what we're doing and truly understand the impact of affordable housing.
Right. And that kind of puts an exclamation point on the policies and the way that we run the city, how we do that as a metropolitan area, what our rules and regulations are.
That's right.
To make it possible for people to have an affordable
That's right.
home.
Yeah. We're going through a big rezoning process, right, at the city of Dallas right now, and people are scared on what does that mean. Are we gonna turn into Houston?
Oh yeah.
Are you gonna tear down these big homes in my neighborhood and put all these small little duplexes and townhomes next to me? Well, no. It does not make sense for us to go and tear down homes. That goes against everything we're trying to do. Yeah. But what it does allow is for better use of the vacant land that exists.
Yeah. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the term, we don't want to be like Houston. We love Houston. Houston's a great town.
I love Houston. My mom's there.
Yes. But their zoning laws are questionable or maybe non-existent. You can put a huge tower up next to a house, from what I understand. Yes. Dallas is not that way. We do have areas where we're going to put similar things in larger areas. And you mentioned the plant that's right next to the Joppa neighborhood, which everybody deserves their spot, and sometimes it's unfortunate that we have this big facility right there, and now we have people right next to it, and how we solve those problems. But that's also a big part of what you guys are doing. You're not trying to force housing into areas where it's going to cause a problem.
No.
You're looking for fit. That's what I see. I mean, like when you say people are afraid of what you're going to do, sounds like the Habitat neighbors are really great neighbors.
Yeah.
I mean, like somebody you would want to be in your neighborhood.
Right.
Where's the fear?
People have outdated perceptions of what affordable housing looks like and who lives in it. Right?
This is that it's not a silver bullet. What your idea was 40 years ago.
It's not the same.
It's just not the same. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love this.
Learned our lessons.
Ashley, I think I've learned so much today here about building, how we build Dallas, how we take care of each other. We're not going to intrude on someone else. You guys are wanting to be great neighbors. You're wanting to provide a service that is desperately needed, and especially in a area that's growing so fast and it getting expensive. And we go back to, you're trying to put houses up for people, and the land is just, it is what it is. Yeah. It's very expensive. So you're looking at new ways to do that. It's just the whole Habitat thing is really what I like you said too. It's very intricate, but at the same time, it's simple. We're just trying to get someone in a home.
Yeah. That's right.
Any final things you want to say to our audience about Habitat? Come join us.
Come join us. Again, come look online on our website. We have lots of volunteer opportunities that get posted all the time. So there are different things up there for public opportunities. If you are a corporation and you want to come and build on a home and sponsor the building of that home, come let us know, because we are open to it. We've got lots of things going on and more to come.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Ashley. We appreciate it, letting us know about Habitat for Humanity. And I'm Chris Arrington with Building Dallas.
Thanks for tuning in to Building Dallas, where we bring the stories that shaped North Texas. Subscribe, share, and stay connected. Until next time, keep building. Building Dallas is presented by Arrington Roofing, keeping North Texas covered, rain or shine.